Members of Parliament received a security warning ahead of coordinated anti-carbon tax protests set to take place today, warning them to lock their doors and go somewhere safe, and if the situation becomes volatile, to use a panic button. This comes as MPs have been facing more and more threats, prompting one Liberal MP's decision not to run again, and after Poilievre urged his supporters to protest the carbon tax outside of MPs' offices, as Alex Boudelier first reported yesterday. On March 10th, Poilievre was speaking at a rally in Toronto, where he told his supporters that politics is not a spectator sport, but a participation sport. And if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. I found the clip so you can watch it for yourself.
Axe the tax, but it involves all of you. I can't do it myself. Politics is not a spectator sport. It is a participation sport. If you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So you need to be at the table. So I'm going to be asking some things from all of you. I'm going to be asking, we are going to start a massive pressure campaign in Parliament, but you need to back me up on the ground. How many of you are going to write your Liberal NDP members and demand they vote with common sense Conservatives to axe the tax? How many will organize protests out of Liberal constituency offices to pressure them to do the right thing?
One member of Parliament, NDP MP Charlie Angus, called this the politics of intimidation in action, as he linked Poilievre's rhetoric to the warning that was just issued to MPs. Now, it's unclear how effective Poilievre's rhetoric in March was at encouraging protesters to target Liberal and NDP offices, because you do have to consider that this is happening during a climate where there's already increased threats towards MPs. Ones that in 2022 also targeted Poilievre, according to reporting from Marc-André Cossette. But I did find one story where 14 days after Poilievre's call to action, police had to be called to a carbon tax protest that was targeting two NDP MPs, during which NDP MP Gord John said he had someone threaten him physically. I spoke to extremism expert Amarnath Amarasingam about all of this. He told me the security warning sent to MPs, quote, speaks to the hyper-polarized environment we're currently living in. Protests in any other context would be totally non-worrying, but I think people recognize that the kind of people who would attend these protests in the contemporary climate are likely to tip over into violence and other unlawful behaviors. They are likely consuming all sorts of conspiracy theories, all sorts of anti-Trudeau propaganda, which would drive their involvement. Either Pierre Poilievre doesn't understand this or doesn't care. What do you think of all this?